Hard to believe we're almost halfway into 2013 and halfway into the rest of our lives. It is an adventure, and there is no turning back, so embrace it, live it with gusto, and leave your mark for liberty and freedom and constructive development for human society. That's what marks a human being from a globalist animal who is out of control, operating as a cancer on the face of this globe. Well, it's information overload as the quickening accelerates, as more and more happens across the world, and as the absurdist whitewashing of the corporatist press and of the White House intensifies, trying to make excuses for the manifest lying that's going on. And there's a Hill article, talking about the fact of why is the press all starting to turn against Obama? It's because they realize that they have no relevance if they don't. They already realize they've lost relevance, and the article goes into how Drudge is able to focus on the White House corruption, and so the media then follows that. What Drudge is able to do, what InfoWars is able to do, what any other real media is able to do, is show you what they said a month ago versus what they're saying now. And then we'll show you what they say tomorrow in context right next to each other. The headline is Obama needs a Drudge. But Obama doesn't want a Drudge because Drudge is showing how Obama changes his story and gets caught lying every day. It's like a time capsule or something. And all they do at Drudge, and all we do at InfoWars, and all you do out there in your own life is have a memory and go, wait a minute. They admitted they were going after libertarian and conservative tax-free groups 3 years ago. They've had MSNBC call for a purge. But now America, because of all the other Benghazi gates and everything else, and breaking into the media and spying on the media and persecuting whistleblowers, now the public is ready to see it in the light for which it really is, out of control. Extremely dangerous, authoritarian. So that is just some of the news that we are going to be covering and going over today. And Infowars.com has been having intermittent issues. A few weeks ago, we were being hacked or attacked different ways, and right now, we can punch it up on screen. We need to let IT know. They probably never will. I'm being sarcastic. Service unavailable. This server temporarily unable to service your request due to maintenance downtime or capacity problems. Please try again later. So you will need to go to drudgereport.com to find a lot of the stories I'm going to be covering, obviously. Look at this headline. What are these weird street signs being installed in Las Vegas? And they look just like the IntelliStreets designs that Homeland Security is spending billions of dollars on, where street lights and power poles become surveillance grids. And then they also give the public orders. And in the future of these companies, or several, admit you'll wave your ID card in front of it or stand for a face scan. And what they do is they bark orders demanding you line up in front of the computer or a SWAT team is coming. I'm not joking. And there's also a video of people out in California. The cops come to the door. The kids are playing in the yard. They go, we're going to come in and make sure there's no disturbance. They say there is no disturbance. So the cops bust in and then taser both the man and woman who were doing nothing as punishment.
Hi, Ted Anderson, president of Midas Resources. With over 30 years of experience in the precious metals business, I can tell you without a doubt, we are facing the most dangerous and volatile times, not just in the United States, but worldwide. Peace of mind is gold and silver. Now is the time to invest in gold. When it comes to bullion coins, our prices are competitive and the closest to melt. If it's numismatics you're looking for, we have some of the best deals out there. Visit MidasResources.com today or go to Infowars.com and click on the link link to see our daily specials. Here's an example of one of our long-term specials we've been offering for more than a year. 2 silver dollars from the turn of the last century, plus 2 powerful films, The Obama Deception and The American Dream. We also add in the book Dishonest Money, all for $72 and free shipping. The most trusted name in precious metals is Midas Resources. Call 1-800-686-2237 or go to Infowars.com. I'm Ted Anderson with Midas Resources.
We are now only entering the edge of a global financial superstorm, the likes of which the planet has never seen. Here in the United States, the private Federal Reserve is giving more than $85 billion of taxpayer money a month to themselves and other offshore foreign banks. And the worst part is, we have to pay the bank's interest on the money we give them. There is now a race between the global central bank mafia cartels to see who can devalue their country's currencies the fastest. We are already seeing big increases in inflation at the grocery store and the gas line. This will eventually lead to hyperinflation. More than a dozen top globalists like George Soros have been buying record amounts of gold while at the same time bad-mouthing it to the public. Don't just listen to what they say, watch what they do. For more than 6,000 years of recorded human history, gold has been the ultimate hedge against uncertain times and inflation. Before investing in metals, it is important to do your own research and find a reputable company. Midas Resources has the highest Better Business Bureau rating of an A+. Unfortunately, very few precious metal companies can boast that. Midas Resources has assembled one of the most educated, researched, and professional teams of brokers in the industry. The evidence is overwhelming. In uncertain times, gold and silver is safe harbor. Now is the time to invest in gold. Call 800-686-2237 and Midas Resources will mail you 10 reasons to own gold absolutely free. No shipping. It's absolutely free. And finally, Ted Anderson wants to challenge you to find any deal that comes close to his 2 silver dollars at cost with free shipping with 2 free films and a book for $72. That's more than $160 value for $72 shipping included. Click the link at Infowars.com to go to the MidasResources.com specials page. Brought to you by MidasResources.com and Ted Anderson, the trusted name in precious metals. And I'm going to open the phones up throughout the 3 hours today. Dr. Corey Gold's talk show host in his own right is going to be joining us to give us his take on Benghazi Gate, IRS Gate, media spying, persecution gate, whatever you want to call it. What is behind all this and where is it going? There's now talk, which is good. That's where it should be going, by Boehner, of all people, the Speaker of the House, to go after Obama or people in his party, in his criminal government, with criminal charges. They're talking about who is going to go to jail. Someone needs to go to jail, and national polls are out showing the majority of Americans want jail time for these criminals as well. We have footage up on Infowars.com of out in California. The police come and say, we heard there's a report of loud voices. And the family says, well, nothing's going on here. Kids are playing in the yard. We don't need any help. The cops say, we're going to come in. You're going to get on the floor. And they say, no, you need a warrant for that. And that's what the courts have ruled. And they kick the door down, and the people have their hands up, and they both taser them as punishment. We're going to play that video and audio later. And then there's new footage up on Infowars.com of a reporter who went to an area northwest of London to actually visit a friend. And while he was at it, thought, well, nearby is the Grove Hotel where Bilderberg's going to be meeting in a few weeks. Google is already set to meet there next week. And a helicopter came over, and then police. First, he's like, oh, is that helicopter hovering over, over me for them as I walk down a country road, just wanting to videotape, a golf course? And then police show up and say, we've got to put you basically in a database. Give us your info. Why are you here? And secret police all over the place. And this is the essence of secret police, where they just say, hi, we're here to look into what you're doing. We're here to put you in a database. We're here to make you answer questions. And then you say, well, I'm not going to answer your questions. Well, we're going to beat you up and say that you say that you resisted us. And it doesn't matter if it's on tape. They have kept juries that will put you in jail. We have the biggest prison population in the world here in the U.S., and it's only getting worse. And the system wants the police to act in a thuggish way against the public and train us that we're all criminals when the real criminals in government are above the law. And again, I'm not saying all police are bad. In fact, a lot of police, most police are actually good people that sign up for the real reasons. But the thugs, the bullies are being promoted to the top, and they are protecting the thugs. And there's a conversion over to the way police forces are in North Korea or Mexico. Now, that said, we reported last year on IntelliStreets and other companies getting Homeland Security grants to put microphones and cameras and face scanning cameras. And New York's already putting these up in systems that scan through your clothes, quote, looking for weapons. So again, guilty until proven innocent, piercing your clothes, violating the Fourth Amendment. Because your person, you know, the clothing over you is your privacy. Is your privacy. It's very, very simple. And we need your help up on Infowars.com with an article that we've got posted. What are these weird street signs being put up all over Las Vegas? And you look at them, they have the symbol of a badge on them with computer screens above, in the center, and below. And they then have wiring going up to what looks like little command pods on the top of them. And these are clearly police communication hub/spy grids. But we need to identify exactly what company it is. The folks that sent us these images, I wish they would have gone to the back of the panels and looked for the stamp of manufacture, because that would let us know. But this is definitely some type of, you know, Google-type wireless grabbing spy pod, command pod, because we can see the communications arrays. But it's also clearly there to give orders and commands to the public. A decade ago in England, they put up as the test ground thousands of telescreens that actually bark orders at you, and that it has a computer with set messages, but then also the police can come over it and demand as it barks orders. There's the headline: talking surveillance cameras coming to U.S. streets. That's May 14th, 2012, almost exactly a year ago. Wow. Talking surveillance cameras coming to U.S. streets. IntelliStreet system now being installed with DHS backing. And it looks like the IntelliStreet or one of the other companies, but we need to confirm that, that indeed these are going in. And then it tells you, present yourself, show ID. The new IDs, you know, have the RFID chips in them in every state. And then you present yourself via the digital photo of your driver's license, and it scans you. It takes a digital photo, and that's the new system where you're walking and it goes, stand up straight, up against the wall. Failure to do so will respond in police presence. And the cops pull up. They're like, why didn't you stop back there? Well, I'm going somewhere. All right, buddy, up against the wall. Yeah, yeah. Hey, welcome to America. And by the way, we have video of this happening more and more. And then they'll beat somebody to death, and if you videotape it, they'll beat you to death. Or they'll put you in jail, even when the footage comes out. I mean, they'll put a guy in handcuffs, shoot him right in the back, and then grab everybody's video, cameras. I mean, you've seen those cases. This is all a giant control grid for us where we are the hunted. And again, it's going to stop crime. The government runs the motorcycle gangs, runs the gangs, runs the drugs, launders the money. They run the child kidnapping, all of it. All of it. I mean, look it up. Help me. Homeless man begs as cops fatally beat him in videotaped incident. Now, that was one of the famous ones out in California. There was just another one where they grabbed everybody's video, tapes, all their phones, took people to jail, you name it. And I think that's good. I think anybody videotaping police should be executed. By the way, I've got some articles I'm going to get to. I'm being sarcastic, folks. I've got some articles. Are Austin police shootings a growing trend? KI. A growing trend? They are way up. And I've said we've got a better department here in Austin than the many cities I've been to. But still, I mean, look at the benchmark we're at. Like, yeah, okay, Austin police are a lot better than North Korea. They're a lot better than New York police, but I don't want to become that. Exclusive, shootings by Philly police soar as violent crime plummets. Philly.com, Philadelphia Inquirer. And it goes through how they just pull people over and just shoot them. And that's the same thing happening in Austin. They pulled a guy over, and he got out and didn't do anything, and then they started shooting at him. Because he reportedly put his cell phone in his pocket. You know, you get out of the car, you got your cell phone, all right. Oh, boom, boom. And because they're so afraid, because they all go watch Olympus Has Fallen, they all go watch these movies, and they really believe that there are people trying to kill them everywhere, as the violent crime rate has dropped 49%. I've been reporting this for months. The Justice Department finally put out a full report on it. In the L.A. Times, here's the L.A. Times headline, gun crime has plunged, but Americans think it's up, study says. And it's cops as well. I mean, if you talk to a cop now, like you'll see a cop walking down the street, like, hey, how's it going? They're like, why are you talking to me? I mean, it's fear because, you know, they go watch 24 and they watch all these cop shows. And it's not just the cops, it's the general public. They literally believe terrorists are everywhere. Of course, I've seen the numbers. It varies year to year, but usually in an average year, you're about 13, 14 times. You can look this up, folks. More likely to die as a police officer in a car wreck or being run over by a driver, and cops know this if you really think about it, than you are to be shot. Than you are to be shot. And it's just the wicked flee when none pursue. And if you're not wicked, that message isn't for you. But I just don't get it. I mean, this isn't real. The video games aren't real. The TV shows aren't real. There aren't really terrorists except for ones the globalists manufacture 99% of the time. I have found real terror attacks that have happened in the Middle East where it's asymmetrical warfare, where people fight. It's just war. But to demonize somebody you're in a war with, I'm not taking sides here. I'm just saying they're really asymmetrical. There is asymmetrical combat that goes on, and that is called terrorism. Now, when the West funds al-Qaeda to attack Libya and Syria and engage in, we looked at the number, 120,000 dead, most of them civilians, by al-Qaeda. 120,000 dead in the last 2 years in Syria, and growing. Lining the Alawite minority up, killing them, killing Christians, Jews, and it's called a protest. When they attacked the ambassador over the 6 to 8 hours in Libya, it was called a protest. So real terrorists are called protesters. And there it is, Syrian death toll likely as high as 120,000, group says. That is from just yesterday out of the Huffington Post. But I think it's an AP article in Huffington Post. The point is that, see, I'm glad you pulled that up, guys. People don't think I'm making this stuff up. People just get amazed I can rattle off statistics. You can rattle off baseball scores, but you can't rattle off 69% drop in wounding fatalities. I mean, in a wounding, 39% in shooting fatality drops, and 49% overall violent crime rate drop since 1992. Look it up. I covered this last week. It's L.A. Times now. Of course, we've been telling you this since those statistics came out a few months ago, but you know, now here it is, mainstream news. Mainstream news. So that's just some of the videos and some of the articles that are up on Infowars.com right now. Shock video, California police break into home, tase victims, and the people are like, calm. They're like, okay, you just broke in our house, nothing's going on. People have their hands up like good victims, and the cops taser them both. And people are even on my website defending it, going, well, we don't know what was going on in there. You know, hey, everybody, if they show up at your house, hands up, come out, we're going to search your home without a warrant. It's the new America. I had tried everything. I'd cut back the amount of food I was eating. I was lifting weights and jogging, but nothing was working. My body was literally starving for minerals and trace elements as well as key vitamins. And as soon as I had that, I immediately could eat half of what I was eating previously and be satisfied. Now, there are hundreds of great products at InfoWarsTeam.com, but I want to point out the 3 that have helped me lose 37 pounds in just 2 months. Products like Beyond Tangy Tangerine, Pollen Burst, and Rebound. When I started taking the Tangy Tangerine and other products every day, I lost more than 37 pounds in just 2 months. Now that's results. I want to challenge my listeners to go to InfoWarsTeam.com and to order just 3 of their products, and you will see the changes in the way you look, feel, and in your appetite almost immediately. Start your journey to health and wellness today. InfoWarsTeam.com.
Strange days have found us.
Oh, yeah, strange days are here. You know, it now turns out the IRS asked for Facebook post, reading list, and private thoughts of Tea Party groups they were harassing and auditing. You see, they're turning the census into a yearly and then monthly government interrogation with threats of arrest if you don't violate your own Fifth Amendment and waive your rights, as well as your Fourth Amendment. They are turning the IRS into something that runs your health care and spies on you and enforces everything and is a political control arm. They're taking all these federal agencies and they're metastasizing right now as the country is bankrupted by design. Obama campaign co-chair attacked Romney with leaked docs. No kidding. IRS approved liberal groups with Tea Party in limbo. GOP impeachment not off the table. Prominent Catholic professor claims IRS audited her after speaking out against Obama. Absolutely. This is all part of the intimidation. Demand to know who was paying for her. IRS asked for Facebook post. Demanded list of students that were part of libertarian and conservative groups. This is what a free country does? Well, they're just making sure. IRS wants you to share everything. Politico reports. And again, they're hoping to just bring all this out and normalize it. And so many people I talk to now go, you're absolutely right about this, but I better not visit Infowars.com. I better not speak out. They'll get me. No, if you give in to the fear, they will get everyone. This is what an authoritarian normalization looks like. I mean, it's like sheriffs in Palm Beach County. The sheriff comes out and says, if anyone criticizes the government, call us and we'll drop by to see what they're up to and have a nice little talk with them. What they'll do is force their way in your house without a warrant, grab you for a forced psychological evaluation by one of their hired psychiatrists or psychologists, and take your guns, and there'll be no judge, no jury. You will now be listed as a mental patient in their fake database. And people go, well, the sheriff also said if somebody talks about shooting the mayor. No, what they say is if someone says they don't like the government or that they're angry at the government or they want to shoot the mayor. It's like if somebody says they want the Constitution and to kill their kids. See, they add that into it to demonize the earlier point. It's all semantical con games with these people. And now all over the country, they're putting up microphones and cameras and telescreens and telling you how they're going to prosecute you for this and prosecute for that. And we're watching you and you can't be trusted and you better do what the government says and you better. And oh, there's all sorts of rulings like town hall reporting. Court rules against German homeschooling family seeking asylum who face prison time for homeschooling their children. And Obama is turning the family back who's been here for 3 years from asylum. Oh, if you're running from North Korea or you're running from stuff in Germany, which is an incredible police state now on many fronts, you're not allowed to get away. Oh, you're going to stay there because they want to make America like Germany is. They're trying to ban homeschooling. California a few years ago tried to ban it, but it got defeated in court. And they said in the court argument at the state level, I remember reading the filing, they said the state has jurisdiction over your children and they are the primary guardians. And then now MSNBC in promos says the community, the state is the parents, not you. Your children are not yours. We need to get over this idea that your children are yours. And I'm glad you're upset out there. You know, I tell my entire crew who sits in there and gets upset about all this, and they watch the videos we're getting ready to play, and they get upset, and they say something's got to be done, and they're all in there talking angry. And I looked at them all, and I said, hey, everywhere I walk around in this office, people are in the coffee room, wherever, looking at articles, discussing it. And I'm glad I've got a crew that cares about this information. I'm glad I've got a crew that works so hard. I'm glad I've got a crew that is upset. But I say this, don't just sit around at your office or don't just sit around at, church or wherever and talk with a few friends about how you're upset about what's going on. Go to the city council. Go to the county commissioners. Let them know that you're the boss and they're the servant. Set up your own YouTube channel. Do your own radio podcast. Go do your own YouTube channel. Because I've told particular people in this office that are constantly walking around talking to everybody else, and everybody goes to them to talk about the New World Order, and I'm like, when do all these great ideas get on air? When do all these discussions fight the New World Order? When are you going to put that on air? Put that on air. Because let me tell you something. It's the time for sitting around with people you know are already awake and talking about this is over. It's time to hit the bricks. It's time to get on the street. It's time to get on the air. And even if you reach 100 people a week on YouTube, it'll grow into tens of thousands. Even if you get a local radio show, Access TV, use a venue, get out there. You are the resistance. You are the hope. You are the leaders. Again, I want to give first-time callers a chance to get involved on air today, 800-259-9231. Now, let me run over the latest on the changing stories, the lies, and the good news that because of grassroots pressure, Boehner, who's been an insider and always whitewashing things, is being forced to talk about people need to be arrested, people need to go to jail. The problem is then those people will squeal like Fast and Furious when they're facing jail time and say, I was ordered to by the Attorney General and by the head of Homeland Security, Mr. Napolitano. Well, of course you were. Of course you were. Of course you were ordered to. And this is their Waterloo. This is their Watergate, to continue the water analogies here. We have to continue to hammer this. Let's go over some of these headlines here. Justice Department defends seizure of phone records. So they're now defending that while saying they didn't know it was going on, that underlings did it. But they're now changing that story. That's the New York Times. Holder isn't sure how often reporters' records are seized. Just amazing, ladies and gentlemen. And again, they're already spying illegally on everything. We've confirmed that just from our whistleblowers, with them finding out who they are almost instantly. I mean, you literally have to meet people in parking lots. Or folks mail us stuff from mailboxes with fake return addresses, and then we call the phone numbers on it and confirm they're real documents. That's really the way, the old-fashioned manila envelope way. Continuing, Eric Holder points finger at deputy who secretly obtained journalist phone records as Obama is forced to say he has confidence in the Attorney General. So we're going to have the Attorney General of Fast and Furious and the Oklahoma City cover-up. That came out in court. He ran that cover-up of what really went on there. These are very nice people, folks. And now they know nothing, but they're defending it. Continuing here with the news on the media being harassed front. Holder to face Capitol Hill grilling today. We're going to follow that. That's out of the Hill newspaper. A report on that front. Also, there's another headline here that White House on AP probe, Obama firm believer in press freedom. Well, thank goodness Kim Jong-un is a firm believer. I mean, Obama, everything's fine now. Newsmax reporting, again, what I just mentioned, the Justice Department to investigate not only the harassment of whistleblowers and the going after phone records of sources, reporting on criminal activities by this government, a crime syndicate trying to protect itself. Now, justice to investigate IRS targeting of the Tea Party. And again, there's a Hill article out going, Obama needs his own drudge to be able to counter everybody getting on the bandwagon to attack him. It's because the media are a bunch of cowards. Just like the Boston bombing, our reporter goes and says, who are these other guys? You admit you had a drill. You don't want to talk about it. Why was there a stand down? Here are photos of the other people. And the FBI guy was literally completely scared and goes, do not listen to him. Do not talk to him. Do not look at his photos. and none of the press covered it or looked at the photos. Instead, they demonized us and said, how dare they ask, how dare InfoWars ask about a drill? Yeah, I mean, it looks like you got about 50 security people in black backpacks and black shirts and tan pants and boots, staring right where the bomb goes off, disappearing minutes before it goes off, and then running around with radiation detectors and stuff. Let's just not even discuss that. And let's not discuss all these other suspects. And let's not discuss Saudi Arabians on no-fly list and stuff, being visited by the First Lady and visiting the White House, 8 times or whatever. Let's just not discuss that. Because it's a conspiracy theory that they're spying on the media, now confirmed. It's a conspiracy theory they bought 2 billion bullets, now confirmed. Now it's a conspiracy that I don't like that they bought that and that I'm suspicious of it. First, it wasn't happening. Now it's I'm bad because I was right. Here it is. Justice to investigate IRS targeting of Tea Party. Isn't that just special? So they'll get to the bottom of it. Don't you worry your little boots about that. The very people doing this will investigate it. They call that fox guarding the hen house in my day, but nowadays that's a conspiracy theory. If you can, 2 + 2 = 4 is a conspiracy theory. Knowing how to tie your shoelaces is a conspiracy theory. Whether it's the U.S. or England, we have videos out today when you say, you don't have a right to stop me randomly and ask me questions. I'm walking down the sidewalk by a park. Is this part of an ongoing investigation? No, it's not. Then no, you don't have a right. And they go, oh, why are you a conspiracy theorist? That's what TSA does now when they want to take you over and grope you. And you're like, the government got the underwear bomber on the plane. This doesn't protect us from terrorism. This violates my Fourth Amendment. They're on record, on video after video we've posted with other citizens and journalists going, that's enough of your conspiracy theories. And I've talked about this. Having free will, having an opinion, having a view is a conspiracy theory. Sitting down, shutting up, taking all your vaccines, getting Parkinson's disease early, getting cancer early, eating your GMO, dying like the rats, on record, that's a good citizen. And I see these videos of these cops all over the country, but also in Europe, when they come over and get in journalists' faces for no reason, they have this crazed enjoyment, and they're always like caressing their uniform and just enjoying it. I'm in an outfit, I'm in a suit, I'm in a costume, and I was watching video of these British cops, and it's an attractive female cop, and you can tell when a woman's jacked up, really excited, and she's just getting off on the power over this guy. And just rubbing on the seatbelt and rubbing on her uniform and I mean, and just like she's all excited. It's all about how she's got power. I mean, these are not people that need power, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, who wants to act like this? Idiots, that's who. People that would never have had real power in the world. Real power because they had power. In ancient times, if you could fight, you could hunt, you could plant crops better, you could tell the weather better, you could strategize how to defend the tribe better, you went to the top, it made humans stronger. Now, if you get in line and enjoy getting your power out of a corrupt system, not out of who you are, you go to the top. And that's why society's turned into North Korea, and pretty soon you can't even plant crops, you can't make automobiles, your cities don't have electricity anymore, but the upper class are all on uniforms with that same look in their eye of enjoyment and that same, I've been to Mexico, I've seen videos and footage out of North Korea, you've all seen it, and I see the same look in our cops now, more and more, of just the satisfaction. It's the same satisfaction when my daughters were 3 or 4 and would dress up like princesses and run around enjoying themselves with plastic rings on, costume jewelry, having fun when their friends would come over. And it's cute when a 3-year-old girl is on a power trip imagining they're a queen. It is not good when you're a 35-year-old cop acting like that. It is good when you're a 3-year-old boy playing cops and robbers out in the yard to imagine you're a superhero. Because you've got to imagine you're going to be a powerful male and a warrior before you actually become one. But being a warrior who battles the journalist isn't a warrior. It's called being a North Korean thug. And look, I salute the police that do a good job out there in some of the crime-ridden areas. But more and more, once crime takes over, the police just become criminal because there's corrupt cops above them on the take, and then you collapse like Detroit or Chicago. I mean, these are now third world areas. A lot of great people in them. I'm not bashing your cities, but they're all now fleeing here and then now trying to put me under their way of life. And I'm sorry, my ancestors went to war with people that tried to make them slaves. And come hell or high water, didn't back down. And that's just where I come from. That's who I am. I have an instinct to not be a slave. I have an instinct to want to be free. I have an instinct to disdain thugs. Gangs wear their uniforms, motorcycle gangs wear their uniforms, cops wear their uniforms. This is all ancient crud. And I'm done with it. And listen, to all of you think you're on a winning team, caressing your uniforms, getting off on fetishizing it, let me tell you, folks, you're dead already. You've all been injected with cancer viruses. You're all drinking sodium fluoride. You're eating GMO. You're going to watch your kids die young. See, because it's going to kill you 20, 30 years young. It's going to kill your kids. You know, a lot of you cops that are like 50 right now, you know, your 25-year-old son's dying right now. Your daughter, your 20-year-old daughter, your 18-year-old daughter, your 10-year-old son's dying right now, and you're crying right now. You know, the neighbor's dying of cancer, too. You're going, my God, it's true. They're killing us. That's right, buddy. Why don't you come in and join the team and really wake up to the whole system instead of caressing your uniform all day? There's no amount of tickets you're going to write. They're going to keep the country from going bankrupt. There's nothing you can do, okay? The only thing you can do is realize we're all under scientific attack. And really get with the program, and let's figure out how to fix this. The media is starting to get with the program and realizing, why are we letting Obama persecute journalists? Why are we letting Obama run al-Qaeda? Why are we letting him spy on everybody? Why are they harassing college groups that promote the Constitution? That's in the manual. Those that promote the Constitution. See, those that promote the Constitution are Americans and the good guys. And those that say the Constitution is bad and is terrorist, they're obviously the bad guys. 800-259-9231. We're going to go to your phone calls here in just a moment. But here it is, Justice Department to investigate IRS targeting of the Tea Party. Well, I feel safe now. I feel safe. Progressive group, IRS gave us conservative groups confidential docs. Again, that's Newsmax, Breitbart. Rasmussen reports 57% want IRS offenders jailed or fired. Oh, but they're not talking, are they? Because they were ordered to do that. I mean, give me a break. The president's the one that orders that. Boehner on IRS. Who's going to jail over this scandal? Washington Times. House Speaker John A. Boehner said today that it will take more than firings to clear up the IRS scandal. It'll take someone ending up serving jail time. Okay, I never praised Boehner. I'm going to praise him right now. That's what we need right there. Jail, long jail terms. Long jail terms. Get rid of the IRS. It's a collection agency for the private Federal Reserve. The big bankers are all exempt from it. All you people that hate wealth and think you're winning team against people that produce by joining the Democratic Party and the Socialists and the collectivists, the mega banks that fund you are tax exempt. They're offshore. They want to get rid of the middle class as a tool of economic domination. Because once you break the middle class forever, you now have an enslaved North Korean or Mexican population, like in Mexico. The IRS wants you to share everything. I already mentioned this Politico article, but here they are going, well, what is the big deal? They want your reading list. I mean, of course the government comes and says, without a warrant, you will tell us your reading list or we're going to take all the money out of your bank account. It's like when I get the business census and the public sends me emails going, I don't get a business census. That's not real. Well, you must not run a business, dum-dum. The community surveys and the business surveys are now yearly. And it asks me stocks, bonds, everything I do, total violation of 4th and 5th Amendment. And it says penalty of perjury. So if I make a mistake, by the way, then I'm going to go to jail for that. Well, you know what? I'm not answering your questions. FBI shows up here. They put Martha Stewart in jail, they said, for lying to them when she didn't. She didn't insider trade. They just burned her because you know her name. Try to scare people. They sent her to jail for not knowing every bit of stock she had in a questionnaire. Well, I'm not answering any of your questions, you crooks, you narcotics trafficking, child kidnapping. Yeah, that's who fences the little kids. Many anthropologists and archaeologists believe that before man even discovered the power to harness and use fire, we were involved in agrarian activities. That is, taking the seeds of plants and then replanting them to produce more. The very foundation of our modern civilization and human culture is centered around the planting and cultivation of edible plants, fruits, vegetables, nuts, you name it. And the globalists have been going after gardening. They've been harassing people that have gardens in their front yards or their backyards. They've called for licenses for people to have gardens because you can't trust prisoners in the police state America to be able to grow their own food. That's why I've come to the realization that we need to become self-sufficient. You need to be informed. You need to have the Second Amendment to protect yourself. You need to be politically active to wake up others. You need to filter your water. But you also need to plant a garden. Even if you live in an apartment, you can do this. If you live in the countryside, obviously you can do it on a grand scale. There are so many green belts in areas that humans don't even visit, nearby cities and in suburbs, where people are now more and more planting their own little private gardens and meadows and off the side of the road. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a revolutionary act to unplug from the television, to unplug from the computer and all the globalist propaganda, and to go out in your backyard or your front yard or planters at your apartment or on the roof of the building where you live, and to plant a garden.
Here are some of the amazing deals at InfoWars Seed Center at InfoWarsShop.com. The Survival Seed Vault by My Patriot Supply features only the finest survival heirloom seeds for a robust and hardy garden, even in the toughest of times. The ARC All-in-One Seed Kit contains 70 varieties of 50,000 seeds of fruits, vegetables, medicinal, and culinary herbs. All ARC seeds are heirloom. Each type is labeled and sealed separately for ease of use and longevity. The Deluxe Emergency Seed Bank combines 3 of Emergency Seed Bank's top sellers: the Family Survival Emergency Seed Bank, the Medicinal Herb Seeds Pack, and the Culinary Herb Seeds Pack. We also have starter varieties of the deluxe seed packages for fruit, salad, salsa, peppers, and medicinal herbs and more. Go to the InfoWars Seeds Center at InfoWarsShop.com.
A little seed can grow a huge tree that produces fruit for up to 50 years. We have the best life bombs. That's what these are. We have the best weapons against death out there at the lowest prices, waiting for you to lovingly plant them and lovingly grow them and lovingly eat them and share them with others. We will strike back against the New World Order, and this is only one more initiative in our fight against them. So please join us at InfoWarsShop.com, or you can link through at Infowars.com at the InfoWars Seed Center. All right, I want to go to your phone calls this segment next. We'll take calls in the next hour or two. Dr. Corey Gold's joining us to talk about Benghazi Gate, all of it. I want to focus some on Benghazi because we are getting distracted with the IRS stuff and all the rest of it. But look, folks, when I end the last segment saying the government runs child kidnapping rings, type in NATO and child sex trade, UN child sex trade, BBC, Reuters, AP, Chicago Tribune, where defense contractors, U.S. defense contractors, whistleblowers will say, I saw them load 125 children, some as young as 2, onto the aircraft, flying them into Saudi Arabia, out of Bosnia. From there, they were broken up and sent to other areas. And then they have Italian investigations on TV where they're shooting 3-year-olds in the head after they rape them. I mean, it's like, whoa. The government grabs little kids, rapes them, and shoots them in the head with .357 Magnums. And I know that there's all sorts of national media listening. Hey, do an article how I'm a liar. Go ahead, just go ahead. And then we'll show you, and then I'll go show a bunch of news articles showing everything I just said. The government, that's who you signed on. All the tough guy groups, all the gangsters, there's always somebody worse than you. And they are who gets in the seat of power. And then society collapses. And I'm so sick of this culture glorifying criminals, glorifying so-called tough guys. You're all walking dead. You're all nobodies. Real men stand up for innocence. Real men stand up for justice. And it's time for real men to get aggressive out there. Somebody tries to push you around. Somebody tries to peck you into submission. You get in their face. Playing games with the New World Order is over. And all the criminal classes, you're going to push it too far, and you know what's going to happen to all of you. You know what's going to happen. You're all going to be brought to justice. When we restore this republic, there's going to be Nuremberg trials. You're all going to get a jury trial. Then you're going to get hung by your neck until you're dead. And a lot of us aren't going to make it to that point to see it, but you will be brought to justice for what you've done to innocents. We will not be transported to a state of liberty on a bed of feathers. Let's go ahead and talk to Simon in Florida. You're on the air, sir. Thanks for holding. Got about a minute and a half.
Okay, I just wanted to point out Alistair Stevenson. You've had several articles about him on your website, and I think it's important to point out also, if someone pulls up the picture of this family, this Richard family, look at the father.
What specifically are you getting at, sir? We don't screen calls, but I've got to know what you're talking about.
Very similar looking, the father, the Martin Richard kid that died, the 8-year-old in the Boston bombing.
Man, you know, I appreciate your call, but I mean, look, for folks that don't know what this guy's talking about, new listeners, there is this new belief that everybody's an actor. And they do have crisis actors, and they have staged fake events, and they have used PR people to be there at events they stage to hype it. But they killed real people at Sandy Hook, and they killed real people at the Boston bombing. They like killing people, okay? Yes, they provocateur events, but they don't completely stage them. Those are very rare. And again, I mean, there's people that say that I'm all these different actors and people. While I work in here 18 hours a day, I was at work 18 hours yesterday. Actually, more than 18 hours. And, of course, it was enjoyable work. Hanging out with Mike Judge again for about 5 hours. I've got the best Mike Judge interview ever. We're going to be airing next week. It is bombshell. All right, I'm going to take calls throughout the hour. Riding shotgun with us is Dr. Corey Gold. We're going to look at all the big scandals. Got a bunch of breaking news. Will Obama stage something to get himself out of this? I don't even know if that'll work at this point. People say, well, the whole government's corrupt. Why go after Obama? You got to start punishing him somewhere, or they think they can get away with anything. So the arrogant liar-in-chief is politically in deep trouble, and his whole agenda is in deep trouble. And I just want to salute Ted Cruz, and I want to salute Rand Paul, because if it wasn't for them and you, the American people, they would have passed that anti-gun garbage, and they would have already passed the amnesty stuff. And people are like, well, why was Rand Paul at first? Why was Rand Paul at first, like, pro-amnesty? He wasn't. He was for real, reasonable path to citizenship for legal folks. But then when he saw the bill was a double cross, he was against it. And, it's kind of like he went to a Christian group yesterday or a few days ago and said, I'm not a total libertarian who wants to run around naked smoking pot, because I guess he's trying to fight the Aqua Buddha stuff. It's okay, Rand. Everybody had fun in college. And then libertarians are like, you're demonizing libertarians. No, he was trying to wake up a group of mainline Christians that libertarianism is a good idea. There's the article, Rand Paul, libertarians advocate everyone go out, run around with no clothes on and smoke pot. And Kurt Nimmo wrote a critical article. I don't control my writers. I respect Kurt. We have a difference of opinion on this article. And I'm not saying play politics, but I want Rand Paul to become president. I know Rand Paul. I know he's the real deal. I know he's a real person. That's why they don't like him. That's why they probably won't let him become president. Because they know, basically, folks, they've already had articles going, Jones knows Rand's trying to co-opt the Republicans, not the other way around. That's why we've got to get Rand Paul. Notice our enemies don't like Rand. Okay, I know Rand Paul's real, okay? As real as it gets, and he's very smooth, and he's presidential material. And I think it's good to, criticize him like Nimmo did. That's Nimmo's right. But I just don't agree with it. I mean, because I know, it's a figure of speech. It's like Rand Paul says, hey, you can't just use drones randomly circling around where everybody's a suspect. Now, if somebody was a suspect and just robbed a liquor store, then you could send a drone in on them. People are like, what, now he wants to use drones on us? No, he was trying to explain to people, you just can't have drones hovering around where everybody's a suspect. That's a police state. He's trying to argue with them in a way to convince them, in a way to win. But then you notice, always at the key point, he tries to kill the NDAA. He tries to kill the Patriot Act. He tries to end the illegal wars. He tries to kill the foreign funding of all these nations that's bankrupting us and helping the globalist corporations use us to fund their empire. We don't get the spoils of this empire. He's killing the immigration bill while saying he's for it. And again, I'm not for using deception in politics. He said, yes, if the bill actually, legally, people that are here legally and aren't on welfare and want to be contributing members of society, we need immigration. I'm all for that. And then the bill doesn't do that. It creates 30 million Democratic voters to take our guns. Then he's got credibility to blow the bill up. Same thing with Ted Cruz. And I didn't trust Ted Cruz up front. And I was even critical of him a few years ago when he started running. And we did an interview with him. We did a serious interview with Ted Cruz. And I got to say, I'm sold now. And that's just the way it is. So, and again, we can all sit there and nitpick all day long. If I see Rand Paul or Ted Cruz get off the libertarian constitutional reservation in their actions, then I will criticize them and say, hey, we like you better than Chucky Schumer trying to take our guns and, Michael Moore, but hey, don't become Boehner. But when Boehner comes out and says, we need criminal charges, we need to have criminal investigations, we need to have a congressional investigation, we can't trust the Justice Department. I'm like, because Boehner is a politician. I don't like him, but if we can take him over, if we can throttle him politically and make him do the right thing, good. I mean, we need to politically bullwhip that little guy into doing what we want. We need to muscle for the Republic. This is a war.
Is it not, my king, time to spring the trap?
No, we must desecrate the soul and the flesh of the Creator's creation.
The chain of life broken forever. A monument to our beauty.
Shirley and others in this hour who are patiently holding and want to talk about Benghazi Gate, who want to talk about IRS harassment of Liberty Group Gate, where they openly say, in the memos, Inspector General, if you talk about the Constitution and promote freedom or American systems, that's when they went after you. This is an enemy occupying force. If the Nazis would have taken over America, which they came close to doing under the McCormick-Dickstein Committee, I actually exposed that in Congress. If you don't know about it, the London Guardians reported on it. It was classified after it happened, a lot of it, because it was so shocking that a lot of top families in America wanted to actually join the Nazis in the mid-30s. Hitler was very popular. He was on the cover of Time magazine as a good guy, as a progressive. The reason I segue off into that is that if the Nazis would have taken over America, you would think the Nazis were good because the media would tell you so. And the tactics being used by Obama and by corrupt elements of the government are what authoritarians have done over and over again. We know exactly what this is. And if the Nazis would have gotten control in the coup d'etat they planned in 1935, 36, 37, if General Smedley Butler, two-time Congressional Medal of Honor winner, rock star in the newsreels, just amazing guy, best-selling author, if he hadn't blown the whistle and gone along with the coup plan, we would have been under fascist control. And, it's the same thing today. We need to say no to the foreign globalist banks. And if the Nazis would have taken over with their own brand of American fascism, they would have said the Constitution's bad, the Bill of Rights is bad, anybody that promotes this is the enemy. That's what they did through puppet states in Poland and Austria and France and everywhere else. They came in with collaborators. I mean, the Germans only left like 50,000 troops in France after they took it over. The French actually stood down. They bought off 9 out of 10 of their generals. The Blitzkrieg didn't really succeed. They only had to drive the British at Dunkirk with their expeditionary force that happened to already be in France up to the coastline. And then they even called off the Luftwaffe headed up by Hermann Goering. I mean, this is the history of it, and let the British go back. Because they had a peace treaty with England, and that's why Albert Speer then, well, that came out in the Nuremberg trial. Rudolf Hess then tried to fly over and deliver it and the rest of it, and they just locked him up. The truth is the British had actually helped put Hitler in power, promised him he could take over Europe, and then set him up. And again, that's not the British people that did that. I start thinking about Benghazi Gate and what's happening in America, and I go back to Napoleon. I go back to Hitler. I go back to Lenin. I go back to Mao. I go back to Julius Caesar. I go back to Genghis Khan, Kublai Khan. I go back to Mesoamerica and Montezuma. I go back because it repeats over and over again. And I'm sitting here. I've seen this movie 100 times. I know what's going to happen. And that's what's so frustrating is that I understand it. And it's not hard to understand. We've got grade A hardcore cancer in America, politically. And you either cut it out, folks, or it's going to go all the way. And I've said the power structure, large segments of it, are now going, wait a minute, I'm not going to be in power? Because, see, when they started going after billionaires and stuff, the globalists did, who weren't part of the club, they've now turned against the dominant power group of Rockefeller and Warren Buffett at the core of it. And so there's a fight internally in the globalists right now. And the globalists are people like us as well. A lot of them are not pure evil because they're not in the inner circle. They haven't been admitted into it because they're not totally wicked. And if we just politically put out the ideas of liberty, we're going to sell people in the media and in the power structure at all levels to get into what we're selling, which is freedom. Freedom is very sexy, folks. It's very alluring. It's empowering and it's addictive. Not being afraid of the globalist, not being afraid of what they do to me, breaking huge national stories every week, catching them in lies, having victories against them, and I'm just one guy with an army of liberty lovers behind me. And other people are tuning in to what Thomas Jefferson called the animating contest of liberty. And these people now go before the state police nationwide and say, we're getting ready to take the guns of Christians and arrest them. And the state police in Colorado, and I was also told, this came out in the news, but I was also told in Texas, actually are now getting up in these meetings, even though they were hired because they follow orders, and are going, what are you talking, what is this? They're actually having that moment of what? The IRS is spying on college students that have Facebook accounts, criticizing big government, and they're going after effective people, good-looking people, people with high grades. They're scared of you because they know that humans have power. The team we're playing against is a bunch of scum. And if you would just get up off your hind ends, folks, we'd beat these people very quickly. And they're scared of people that know the power we have. I'm telling you, folks, there's a spirit of liberty. And it comes from the creator of the universe. And it is religious. I'm just going to, I'm not selling some religion. I'm not saying what church to go to. I'm telling you, I've studied history, and good is always driven by a spiritual belief in justice. And the people driven by that spirit do not fear pain of death or torture. And we are the light of the world. We are the real salt of the world. We are the real illuminated ones. The New World Order calls themselves the Illuminati, but their symbol is the owl that can see in the dark. It brings darkness to you so that it can rule. They're not the real illuminated ones. Lucifer is not the real illuminated one. He's not the angel of light. He's trying to be God. God is the real light. God is the real music of the spirit. God is the real universe. God is the creator. God is life. That's what I worship. Not the twisted ones that would play God. Now, I didn't mean to go off into that. I am a preacher. More and more, that's what I'm called. Not the bulldog. That's been one nickname, but the preacher.
Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.